Talking about things with Matt and Kayleen. Talking about things with friends. Hey!
Hey guys. All right.
Hey.
So welcome to our second episode.
Of Coronaversations.
Is it Coronaversations or is it co-videos? Co-videos. That one's too hard to say.
Coronaversations.
Yeah.
I
All
guess
right.
it is a co-video.
Yeah. Well, see, I was trying to get too what's the word? Smart with it, I guess. I'm not a smart man, so I don't know how to use that word properly.
Did you just struggle to come up with the word smart? Is that the word you were looking for that long?
Didn't I just say that I'm not a smart man?
You know, I'm not very,
Well, see, the thing is, smart is not the word that I was trying to come up with. But then I was like, that's the only word I know. So that's now you got me wondering what word I am trying to think of.
Clever.
Clever. There it is. Now, I don't know what word I'm trying to come up with, but maybe I was just trying to become too clever or smart and trying to work in COVID with video, but whatever.
If you need puns, this is the guy.
Yeah, I was being too punny, or trying to be. But anyway, for the people that are joining us,
All two of you. Hey, Mom.
so, I'm Matt. This is my wife, Kayleen. And with us today is our good friends, and I'll let you introduce yourselves.
I'm Leigh.
And I'm David. And this over here is Penny. There's Penny.
Wow.
And we are the Finnegan Hosies.
Which one is Finnegan and which one's Hosey?
Finnegan.
Hosey.
And together you make this super group.
Team Finnegan Hosey. Yeah, we looked at each other, our eyes locked across a crowded room, and we thought, you know, my name's not Irish enough by itself.
Or long enough.
So let's make, our name is like if you had a Guinness and you were like, not enough. And so you put a little 4-leaf clover on top.
We realized if you say it kind of fast, it sounds Italian, like Finneganozzi.
Ciao, Finnegan
That's something you should lean into more in 2020, because this is a year that nobody's going to remember, I'm sure.
Yeah. An easily forgettable time.
I'll be right back. My daughter just got up, so
Okay.
take it over, Kayleen.
Take it away, Kayleen.
A Rory or a Wren?
Rory.
Oh,
Ring can't get up yet. She's still locked into a crib.
oh.
A
How old is she
Roman
now?
Rory.
Yeah.
She's 2. She just turned 2.
Oh my god. Oh, that's of course. Yeah. We had a little birthday party the other day.
Yeah. Party. As much as you can have a. Well, you know, we had already said we weren't going to have like any kind of party for her this year anyway. So it worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know. A crib full of balloons is a pretty rad party.
Well, that's a tradition we started. This is, you know, with Rory for her first birthday. So now we're stuck doing it for every kid for every birthday.
So for your birthday, we should just get you a ton of balloons so that on their birthdays, like, you got...
Nobody cares about our birthdays.
Oh, we care.
Yeah. Where were you?
I know. I sent out invites and nobody showed up. What's the deal?
You had to send out invites? You can't just deliver them yourself?
You're the
Man.
post office.
Well, no, not everybody lives on my route.
Do you think he delivers to all of them?
My route is
disillusioned about the post office.
my route is nothing but the people I know. So it's like 10 houses. This is going to be a short web series.
Yeah.
Welcome to the second and final episode of
You've burned through all 4 people you know in Wilson.
I I told everybody, I was like, look, don't do it as a couple. Give us 4 episodes, but everybody wanted to do it as a couple.
You can do one just with Penny, where it's just her staring.
I could get her barking again.
We'll put Miles on our side and have Penny on your side and just they're staring at each other.
1 hour. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to dive into the questions real fast.
Yeah.
Or not real fast. This will basically be the rest of the video, I guess. And we'll just have random stories or whatever comes to mind while we're talking.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah, we were really interesting, so this will be great.
All right. So first question of the night. How long have we known each other and how did we meet?
Let's see.
Yeah.
We met in-
When did we start going to trivia? Was that
Oh, when did we meet? Like the two.
Yeah, not you guys.
We
We don't care about you
that.
guys. We're just here for us.
We want to hear you talk about us.
Yeah. We.
No, I'm going to ask that later. Sorry, I was talking over you. You can do it again.
Rude. We met at trivia. Leigh and I probably started going to trivia probably in October after we moved here. So we moved here in 2018.
Yeah.
And sometime that fall, we started coming to trivia. We always went to trivia in DC and lost.
Well, you say always. There was 1 year where we lived next to a place
Yeah.
that had trivia, so we played in the 6 and 10 years that you lived in DC.
I'm an old man. My memory's giving,
Yeah. But we always lost miserably, just miserably, because
We were not last place. In DC
yeah.
at our trivia place, we were the ones who were like, we're not last place. Ah! So we started going to trivia, and then our team won that one time, and it was very confusing
Oh yeah!
to us.
Oh my gosh, we were best thing ever.
Yeah, is that when you started cheating or was it later?
No, it was later to protect our reputation.
So in DC, was it just you two playing together or did you have a team?
We had a group our team was called Nearly Ordained, and it was all the people who had gone to seminary but weren't ordained. Let me tell you, a master's of divinity without an ordination is like a Hogwarts degree. It's an interesting conversation starter, but it doesn't get you very far.
And we got a kick out of it, but also our trivia master, she worked at our seminary or something, and so she thought it was hilarious, and everybody else
Everyone else thought we were weird.
Thought we were lame.
The registrar at our seminary.
Yeah.
Totally, it was completely random, but we ended up going to that trivia.
Yeah, but every time there was religion round, we were like,
And there never was. That's why you always got one.
yeah.
But then, so here's the thing that I don't remember though.
What?
So that's when we would have met Matt. But Kayleen, when was the first time we met you? Did we meet you at trivia?
I believe so because Matt was like, hey, there's this team and they're super weird, but I think you'll like them. No, he said you guys were really cool and that he thought we would get along. And I think one day I was able to come, so I did. And it was kind of I remember feeling kind of nervous and awkward just because I didn't know any of you guys and I was going to join your team. And I'm like, oh, man.
And you didn't join the team.
I didn't?
Has she ever played?
Yeah, she did. She played.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought
we were down a couple people.
Yeah, that's right. Because Matt, I think you were let me know if you guys are ever down a person because my wife would love to come and do trivia and she could join your team. So. Yeah.
And she knows all the answers.
Yeah, man. Every time show up.
Just kidding. Anybody that does trivia.
I mean, I don't think
She just
anybody
knows
is.
that.
She's just smart. You clearly don't know the answers. You can't pronounce any of them.
I don't know the word smart.
Well, I think it's obvious that he doesn't give me any answers because whenever I play, I'm terrible.
No.
Last.
They make three amigos look good.
Random knowledge is not my forte. That's more of his thing.
I missed Remy.
I know, yeah. It's trivia.
You miss what?
Trivia.
Being
Oh, well, get on Monday nights.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that was a thing for a while, and now it's like. Has
Yeah,
it
this
been
could,
well attended?
huh?
Has it been well attended?
Um, Monday night will be our fifth quiz since everything started. The first night was 4 people,
Okay.
and then the second Monday, I think it jumped all the way up to 6, and then it jumped up to 10, and then this past week we actually had 17 people register, but we only had 13 people that played the entire time because 2 people registered. It was a couple that registered individually, and one of their cameras didn't work, so they ended up playing together on the camera that did work. And then 2 people had to cancel, and one other person just couldn't get their camera to work, so it dropped down to 13. I believe that's right.
That's still good though.
But yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. The first 2 weeks, Treat Yourself did the prize,
Nice.
and then the last 2 weeks, Brewmasters decided to take it back over. So they did a gift card and crowler the first week, and then last week was just 2 gift cards.
That's cool.
Because it's hard to get the crowler cans now because of everything. So the shipments aren't coming in the way they were. But it's been fun. It's been fun to write them and stuff because, doing the other quizzes, all I did was read what they gave me. So I'm actually writing these and I can pronounce everything.
Apparently, I participated last week, but I don't remember.
So I made her a I made her a mojito, I believe it was last Monday. Like around the quiz started at 9, so I think I made it like around the time the kids went down, so like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And by the time quiz came around, she was feeling it. and she's sitting in the chair in the corner of the living room, and I'm at the TV because I've got everybody up on the TV and everything, so I can see everybody's answers better. And I'm asking questions, and she's like, "I know that one."
I don't remember this. I don't know if I believe him.
You did. I should have recorded it.
I would sign in for a separate live video feed of drunk Kayleen disrupting the trivia. Like,
there was one part where I was like, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, so and so, and I'm like having to push her out of the camera.
I know that did not happen.
No, let's see. There were, gosh, I can't remember the other things. I feel like there was one thing where she was. I don't know if you did it. That's what she said during the quiz or not.
I did.
But okay,
I remember that.
Remember that.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have a vague. I kind of remember. That's why I'm like, but I don't remember that part. So that's why I'm doubting.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, if I was gonna make something up that she did while, being a little buzzed, I wouldn't have it be something like, you said, I knew that one. I'd be like, I'd make up the thing of you trying to get into the camera and me pushing you away or something.
You did that. That's what you did.
Oh yeah. So we've kind of talked about it already, but we can go back to it if you want. You guys are transplants from the DC area, but Leigh, are you from Florida originally?
Yeah, I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you guys together in DC, and then after DC, what brought you guys to Wilson?
So DC was seminary. That's what brought us to DC. Well, David,
Leigh. So I first came to DC after being mission personnel in the Middle East for a little while after college, and then that same organization sent me to DC to do advocacy work So I did human rights advocacy work, and then went to seminary, and then Leigh ended up going to that seminary.
Is that Wesley?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Wesley Theological Seminary.
Okay, I think we had a friend that went to Wesley. I think that's where Chris went.
Oh.
Is that the one outside of or inside of Arlington?
No, that's Virginia Theological
Mhm.
Seminary.
Okay, that must be where he went.
Yeah.
Okay. So what or how did you guys make your way to Wilson after all that?
Yeah, so we were, so the last 3 years we were in DC, we were living on the campus of Georgetown University as chaplains and residents. So we were in a freshman dorm with like 400 students in like a 500 square foot dormitory room, basically, that was like sort of had like a little kitchenette. And so we got a little tired of that. So we started looking for just stuff around that fit kind of what we wanted to do. And we really wanted to end up in North Carolina because we love North Carolina. We got married in Asheville just because it's a place that we love. So we thought like, so there was, you applied
I
all
applied
sorts of places.
to a lot of jobs over like a 2-year period, and Barton offered me the job, as the college chaplain there, and it was in North Carolina. It's about 2 hours away. We're about 2 hours away from my parents. They live in Greensboro. They retired there.
Yeah.
I got to Wilson and I said, Leigh, there's an Olive Garden, and she was like, I'm there.
Now,
Spiritual G.
were you familiar with this part of North Carolina, or did you know nothing about it? So did you think it was going to be like Asheville?
No. I was, yeah.
No. So the answer to your first question is no, I wasn't very familiar with Eastern North Carolina. I didn't expect it to be like Asheville. I actually thought Wilson was going to be like where I went to college, which is a tiny, tiny town in rural Maryland, like 5,000 people. So when I got here, I was kind of like, oh, there's a Target. I mean, that's fine. We
have arrived here.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, like, so I really wanted to move to North Carolina, but when I looked up like where Wilson was, I was like, oh God, there's nothing. And just because I've always lived in cities or like really populous suburbs, and at the time David had like interviews at like a place in like San Jose, California, in Nashville, there was like some cool places,
yeah.
And I was like, oh, Wilson.
Yeah.
But,
though it was funny, I was in Greensboro speaking on my like first book tour at the Greensboro Bound Literary Festival, and so there's a bookstore in there it is, Christ on the Psych Ward. So there's a bookstore in Greensboro called Scuppernong Books that my aunt and uncle like volunteer at, and I think they part own it.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian, the guy who works at Scuppernong, I was on my way from speaking in Greensboro to interview at Barton. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Wilson. He was like, oh, Wilson's great. And he like talked to me for a really long time about Wallace Simpson and Acid Park and the Whirly Gigs. And I was like, I don't have a clue what any of this is. So then I got here and I saw him and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, we've discovered all sort of like both before we came here and since like weird Wilson connections. Like, so my last year at Georgetown was doing like studying to be a hospital chaplain and doing clinical hours and that sort of thing. So that's why like I kind of followed David because I was just finished with the schooling part of it. So I was ready to, I was gonna look for new jobs anyways. But anyways, so one of the chaplains that I worked with, like she takes the, what's the train called that goes through here?
Hamilton or are you talking about Amtrak or?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah. So he rode Amtrak all the time. So she's like, oh, Wilson. Like I stop in Wilson all the time. And then my very last day at the hospital, I went around to the floors that I had been the resident for and like gave candies to the nurses and that sort of thing, just to be like, hey, my year's over, da da da. And this nurse was like, oh, this is so great. I'm new here. This is really cool. And I was like, oh, where'd you move from? She's like, oh, Wilson, North Carolina. And I was like, what? And I was like, I'm going there. She was like, no way. Wilson's awesome. And she just like went on and on about it. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can really consider myself a transplant to Wilson because I mean,
really.
I grew up in Nashville, which is 15 minutes down the road.
Wow.
Not Tennessee.
Yeah.
I would like for you to know it is the original Nashville in Nashville, North Carolina.
I don't know if anybody ever asked that question. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know when people are in Nashville, Tennessee, I
Wait,
don't
is
think they're
this
like,
the original?
wait, but is this the original?
But maybe I just gave you a clue for the next quiz. Who knows? No, I didn't. Nobody cares about Nashville. But she's a transplant. She is from Oregon, so she made the 3,000-mile trek eastward.
Yeah.
All because of this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stinks with people telling you about like Wallace Simpson and Acid Park because you guys didn't really get to experience Acid Park the way it originally was.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things I took her to because
Oh, really?
yeah.
Mhm.
So like I don't know if you know where it was or anything like that.
Like,
But,
I've heard people
Like
talk
the
about it,
legend?
like I wouldn't be able to tell you where it was.
Hold on. We have to be in the right frame to tell you about this. Hold on.
I don't know what she's doing.
I'm so excited. What is?
That one might be too bright.
What's happening? What's happening?
Really?
Here, how about we go with
Okay,
this?
yeah.
There goes some body snatchers. Got that.
That's just as bright.
Oh my god, that's horrifying.
Okay, let me see if I can get it right again.
What is that, like Groucho Marx?
Yeah.
It's like a negative. It's like a negative picture of Groucho Marx. But so if you know where Wiggins Mill is,
It was like the Gilmore Girls, and I'm just
just so you
like,
know, this is water.
Yeah.
Wherever Wiggins Mill is, I'm almost certain that it's across the valley from where it was when I was a child.
It's the new.
New Wiggins
New
Mill,
Wiggins.
not old. Original Wiggins Mill.
When you cross the bridge at Wiggins Mill. But yeah, if you go down Wiggins Mill towards, I don't even know what town you're going towards. It doesn't matter. It's not there anymore. But he used to have everything that's downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that's downtown, or most of what's downtown at the Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park, everything, or most of what's down there, used to just be in a random field off of Wiggins Mill Road. So, and it was set up perfectly to where when you kind of crested a hill and went around a turn, your headlights would hit everything
That's cool.
like perfectly at night.
So it'd be like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so like if you didn't know that it was there and you just went around this turn and your lights hit it, like you don't see any of the poles that everything's attached to. All you saw was the reflectors. And so I never, like when I knew we were getting close to it when I first took her, I didn't let her know because I just wanted her to
Oh, how
and
cool.
see it. But that was the coolest part about the Whirligigs and what they called Acid Park. The reason it was called that is, I thought you were gonna
Okay, because Legend has it that the the who was it? Wallace Simpson. They said his daughter. It was like her prom night, or there's several different versions. Something about like they were tripping on acid, and
that was the last thing they saw, or whatever.
That's the last thing they saw, or what he imagined that they saw when they crashed into the tree.
Oh,
There is a car. There was a car out there in a tree. Like the tree started like growing into it.
Yeah.
And
so like where everything was, where he had built everything, right in the middle of it was a dirt path. I don't know if it went to like his home or anything, but right in the middle was a dirt path, and maybe like 200 feet down the path, there is a old car that was smashed into a tree, and the tree started growing around it.
But of course, the entire story is just
just made up.
Yeah, he was just an artist.
Yeah. He made cool things out of junk.
I didn't realize this, but we had seen a Wallace Simpson creation prior to moving here to Wilson, because there's one at my favorite museum in the whole world is the Visionary Art Museum in Baltimore, and it's all like strange folk art and art created by people with weird brains, which I like because I have a weird brain. So there's a Wallace Simpson whirligig there, and I remember it, but I didn't until we got here. I was like, oh, where is that?
I think also, so the first place I lived in DC was this community student housing that was in Chinatown, and if you walked a block from our place was the Smithsonian Art Museum, and they had the whole folk art area, and I think Wallace Simpson has a whirligig there too. So
yeah, I might be wrong, but last I heard, I want to say he had like 20 pieces across the United States.
That's so cool.
So I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what else Wilson's known for.
Barbecue, I guess.
Barbecue? Well, yeah, I guess. Parkers and Bills.
The kids, one of their first words was whirligigs. So there you go, Wilson kids. Why are they still here?
Oh yeah, why are you still here?
The ghost of Wallace Simpson.
He keeps us all here.
You have to figure out the riddle of the whirligig. So I guess David, you're the, like you said, you're the chaplain at Barton right now, correct?
Yeah.
And
I'm coming up on 2 years.
Nice. And Leigh, you're what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say interim. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been part-time as a chaplain at Vidant in Greenville for a year and a half, I guess. And then I just started. I just in
the end of February.
Filled in for a pastor at the First Christian Church who was going on sabbatical. And so I was there for 2 weeks before coronavirus hit.
What did you do?
And the pastor was supposed to spend his sabbatical in Italy, so instead he's just sitting at his house a few blocks from the church, hanging out for 13 weeks.
Oh man!
Oh, what a place to pick sabbatical.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's good that he never made it to Italy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So pretty disappointing for him, but I've still been there, and it's over in May. So.
Wow.
So is he not going to try and reschedule anything, or?
Yeah, he's going to. Unfortunately, they make you take the break. Like you have to take a consistent 13-week break. So that's the time he can't get back, but the money that they were granting him to do his trip they're gonna hold on to, and he'll do it next April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it still means he'll have to take off work though, and all this sort of stuff. So it's not ideal, but it's nice that they're being flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, what a time to take over a church.
Oh my God, yeah.
So,
It's a pretty wild time for pastors in general, but like this was supposed to be like this kind of fun,
Yeah.
part-time, short-term, like Leigh just got to be kind of creative, with things, and instead it was like the most significant global
And it was
crisis
like-
of our
it was like
century.
Week 2 of the job, I was like, so I decide if the church is gonna close.
No.
Yeah.
man, glad it wasn't me.
Everyone thought it wasn't you.
So, just to go off subject a little bit and on to the next question, what's the funniest thing that has happened to you in the last week, month, year, whatever? You can choose the time frame if you want. If you want to just tell one of the funniest stories that's happened to you.
Huh. Funniest story.
Did we get him?
What got you laughing the other night?
Yeah, you know what's funny?
This
That's what I was
won't be
thinking. It's not funny.
the
but-
story is not going to be a funny story, but like
We'll laugh anyway.
the other night.
So, have you all ever seen the show IT Crowd?
Yes, we love that show.
Yeah, love IT.
It's not shit.
So I saw that it popped up on Netflix the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, IT Crowd!" So this is like maybe 2 weeks ago or something.
No, this was last week.
Was
It's just
it?
that time is a
Oh
flat
my
circle.
god! So I don't know. It was some weeknight, and I don't know if I was tired or I don't know what, but I watched the episode where they go to the play that's like called Gay Explanation Points.
It's called Gay, a gay musical.
And something about towards the end of the episode, I started crying, laughing, so hard laughing, and I like.
She was screaming. She was like,
I'm laughing so uncontrollably that it was just coming out in screams.
and then she couldn't stop. It was like 5 minutes at least. I was worried.
Oh my god!
I thought we were finally starting to crack.
Oh man, I don't know what the combination of things was, but I couldn't handle it.
That happened to me somewhat recently, but I don't remember what it was about.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll try and remember, but you guys
I haven't.
Something really funny too, so just picture something funny. There you go.
Yeah, I couldn't stop until it was just like 20 minutes, just looking at me like, what the hell?
yeah,
I've
that
been coworkers to laugh by doing various ridiculous things on like our Google Meets. Do you all know what a kafia is?
A what?
A kafia? Here, hold on.
You do. It's just
You'll know what it
the
is.
name, all different. But oh man, like funny things that happened to us. I'm trying to remember now.
we can just talk about that show the rest of the time.
Oh, it's such
You Boston!
That's one of my favorite episodes.
So this is a kafia. It's like a Palestinian.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
So I've been just like signing in to Google Meets with this like.
And he's been wearing it like around Wilson. I'm like, you're gonna die.
I signed in. I had this around my face and a hat on and sunglasses. I just like signed into the Google Meet, and like it took a little while for people to start noticing, and then there was this like there was ripples of reactions, and then it kind of quieted down. And I hadn't said anything, and my coworker Teresa just said, "Wait, what meeting have I signed into?" Look, the CDC says cloth face coverings. This protected me from tear gas. Surely it will
It's not
protect
gonna
me from
protect you from guns.
Well, see, See, now you've set the precedent, so like you can just get a mannequin and just wrap up the mannequin and not even attend the meeting now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I read about this little girl. I think she's 10 years old, who wanted to play with her dog instead of doing the class, and so she like took a screenshot or something of
I
herself.
said that tonight.
Yeah. I think there's her today. And she's like, they won't even notice, Mom. There's like 20 people on the screen.
She's just there in her class photo, like.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fantastic.
great, yeah.
She's going to Harvard. That kid's a genius.
She's paying great attention.
All right, so next question. When did you first decide it was time to eat the rich?
Yeah, good question.
That question came from our mutual friend, Jeff Tilson.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing about the IT crowd, though?
Yes.
So,
Of course.
we're watching The Mandalorian now, and I forget which scene it is, but which episode, but one of the droids, I was like, his voice sounds like Moss.
Yes.
Is it really?
It was.
It was.
I thought we talked about that. I thought we discovered that.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I just don't remember that.
Oh, the prison one.
The prison ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
The
the
droid
droid
voice
that-
is
yeah.
like is Moss.
Oh,
Or
interesting.
I guess the ship's voice that's saying like warning, breach on deck 2.
No, it was the droid that was
Okay.
flying his ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I was just like, because I just watched the IT crowd, I think I noticed it. And then it was. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a kids show on Netflix called Puff and Rock that's narrated by
Chris O'Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd.
Okay.
So I'm like, I know, or like that's the IT crowd is what I know him from originally. They were-
Yeah. Like I remember when I saw Bridesmaids. I was like, oh, it's the guy from IT crowd.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you guys have heard about what's his name? Richard. I don't know how to say his last name. Richard Arroyo, the guy that plays Moss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost.
Yeah. So he has I don't know if it's still doing new episodes or not, but he did a travel show I think it's called Travel Man.
Something like that.
But he just goes to like various cities throughout Europe, and he's very it's hard to impress him with the stuff in the cities that he goes to. Like this one lady in Spain took him to where Real Madrid plays their soccer matches, and like they went in through like this museum and stuff like that. And he's just like, I just don't care about soccer. Like, I mean,
Oh, wow.
you obviously love it, but I just don't like it and stuff like that. But the show that is the funniest to me is the one that he did with Chris O'Dowd, where I forget where they're at, somewhere like in Sweden or Norway or something like that. And they go to a guy that hand makes, what are they called?
Snow globes.
Snow globes. And so like the guy's like, be very careful with this one and stuff like that. You know, it was like one of my first ones that I made, and Chris O'Dowd is holding it and he pretends to drop it. And so he's like, but as he's doing the fake or the laugh from like pretending to drop it, it actually falls off and just shatters across the floor.
Oh my god.
And Moss is just standing there. He's like, I'm not going to lie. I'm glad it wasn't me. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it is just so funny to me.
Where can you watch it?
I know we watched the last time on Hulu.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have Hulu or anything, we can give you the login.
Go to bed.
Go. I'm gonna go talk to Rory again. Heck.
No wonder she can't sleep. We're like,
Yelling at you.
yeah, really.
What?
I mean, I guess we can start reflecting while Matt's gone on we had
Yeah.
two very different journeys to eating the rich, Leigh and I. I've been eating the rich since I was a young boy.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember when my papa sat me down on his knee and he said, "Son, the poor are stringy, the rich meaty.
Yeah.
Always the rich." So it's really a Hosey family
Yeah.
legacy, the eating of the rich.
Oh, okay.
You came to eating the rich later in your life.
Let me catch Matt up real quick. Poor, stringy, rich, meaty.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just science, you know.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
The rich has like that fat cap on it to give it all the flavor while you're like smoking it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were going into how Lee's story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I grew up in a pretty left-leaning household. I'm sort of the conservative.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. So you all know who Reverend William Barber is,
I think
right?
we might have told you this offline sometime, so sorry if you've heard this before. I think we told this to Matt one time, maybe.
Should I not tell the story?
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, tell it for the masses.
Audience.
That's for my mom.
So William Barber, who's restarted the Poor People's Campaign, Leigh and I were at a festival where he was preaching, and my parents were with us. And this was before we were married, and Leigh hadn't spent a lot of time with my parents, so she didn't know them.
And they're very stoic people. They're very you can't read them. They don't say a lot. They don't own a lot.
Yeah.
They don't move a lot.
Leigh will often say things like, "I'm not sure if your parents like me," and I'm like, "Yeah, my sister and I have been having that experience for 35 years."
They're so lovely.
They're great.
But yeah, when I was first meeting them, it was a bit intimidating.
So William Barber is preaching, and Leigh is sitting next to my mom, and
I had talked up this festival, and like, so they were all like, I think going there, like, I don't know, I just thought it was like,
Leigh felt like responsible.
Yeah.
And he was
naming names.
He was naming names. I mean, he was getting intense, and Leigh is like, oh gosh, like I wonder.
And William Barber is not partisan, but he's for certain issues. And so if you're on the other side of those issues, he's going to call you out. So he's like, you know, Senator so-and-so and Congressman so-and-so and all this stuff.
And so Leigh's like, oh gosh, like I wonder how the Hosies, like I hope they're not uncomfortable. And she looks over and my mom is like, yeah! You're not a union!
We ride it on.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I have early memories of going to protests in Annapolis. And,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
I'd like to take our kids to protest, but there's just not protests anymore.
Well,
Yeah. Tired of playing.
I won't lie. I'm nervous about taking the kids to the things. Just
Yeah,
counter
especially after
protests
you
and,
see like
when Heather got hit by the car and things like that. The violence that can.
Yeah, it depends on the protest. Like going to a protest in DC is super safe because they're prepared for it.
Right.
Knows how to respond. It's So I suggest a well-contained one.
yeah, and DC's had what, like 2 or 3 protests?
yeah,
Yeah, that could be.
a day. After a while, when you live there, you're sort of like,
Yeah.
there's another one.
You're like, oh.
It's like my one weekend off to visit DC, and there's a protest going on. I love DC though. I wish we could go back sometime soon.
It's a cool
That
town.
is a cool city, yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time we went, Auden was that Auden or was that Rory when we went with Joel and Melissa?
Autumn was a baby then.
Okay, so Auden was probably under 1, I guess.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been he'll be turning 6 next month. So I guess it's been.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh, we can't hear you.
we lost you.
You're in a silent movie.
Here, let's just talk to each other.
Yeah.
What do you think they were? Oh, there we go. Okay.
It's funny. We could see you guys perfectly, so we saw the.
Well, that's what's so weird is your video is like
Yeah, your
keeping up.
video
It
was
was just
fine.
the
It just,
sound.
yeah.
Yeah, like while I was talking, it popped up in the middle. Like,
Oh yeah, your bandwidth is low.
dude, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Is low.
Your bandwidth.
we.
Okay, happened again.
I'd like for us to be able to do this stuff in the living room, but and hook it into our router, but it puts the computer so far away from any comfy seating that we have in there. But I don't know. Maybe we can work something out.
Now, did you end up using green light or did you go Spectrum?
Spectrum. So
There's your problem.
so here's the thing. It could also be because I'm using a $115, $20 Chromebook. So that might be what it is.
That doesn't have anything to do with the bandwidth, though, right?
The CPU usage, isn't that what bandwidth is pretty much?
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't
I
matter.
don't know anything about this.
See, we discussed this in the first video with our other friends where when we moved into the house, we were like, let's just stick with Spectrum because we could just be like, hey, we moved to this house.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be easier just to, transfer services.
So we ended up having a hard time just getting them to switch us over to this house. And
They
then-
ended up giving us an entirely new account. They opened an entirely new account. It was,
granted, we're paying $20 less right now than we were at the other house, but once this year of this contract is done, I guess we're going to switch over to Greenlight. But after we did all that with Spectrum, Kay sends me a message while I'm working. She's like, hey, somebody from Greenlight just came and took a box off the side of our house. And we were like, what? Like, we had the stuff at our house for Greenlight.
Oh,
We didn't know it.
Oh.
And the thing is, the people that we bought the house from, when he was redoing everything with the house, they painted outside because the house used to be yellow. And so they took the green light box off the side of the house and they had painted around it. So there was like a big yellow box on the side of the house.
Should have gone with green light.
We
you
will,
live, you learn.
we will eventually, but right now we're paying better, I guess.
I like that the green light goons came and like messed your house up. They're like, oh, yeah, going with Spectrum.
It was actually the same color, and green light put a yellow
Yeah.
square on the wall.
And then they spray painted obscenities on it.
So with quarantine going on right now and everything, like, we're doing these videos because we miss talking to our friends and seeing other people's faces besides our own. And so outside of quarantine, what would you consider your ideal friend hangout?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I'm an old man.
Yeah, we're pretty big. Like, I feel like craft brew fans. So like breweries and stuff.
If they're quiet.
People don't bring their annoying kid.
We for Leigh's birthday a few years ago, there was a vineyard in Virginia that wasn't too far outside of DC.
That was awesome.
And we did her birthday there, and it was great. You could get a nice wine, just hang out outside.
Yeah. They had like a really amazing like cheese and meat and plate, and so we just hung out outside drinking wine. It was great.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We've got a little fire pit in our backyard. We've been doing fires outside, and I like hanging out around the fire,
Yeah.
play some guitar.
Yeah,
It's one of ours, minus the guitar, because we don't have musical talents. But
we have a ukulele. We just don't know how it works.
Oh, I can teach you some.
Oh, nice.
Got a little book.
Nice. Maybe we could do a Zoom meeting of you teaching me how to play the ukulele.
We should live stream that. The internet will hate us.
We might keep a processing error for that video to where it won't. So moving on, what is your favorite movie scene or quote, or what is your favorite song or song lyric? Or you could choose both if you want to tell us one of each.
The impossible question.
Yeah. Oh, favorite
my
movie
gosh.
scene.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Keep going. Keep
No.
going. delete.
Uh,
I can't say this is my favorite, but just that we were talking about it tonight. Do you remember in that scene in Billy Madison?
Uh-huh.
Where he gives some inane answer and the
Oh.
the
The moderator.
yeah,
the moderator. Yeah.
it's like that answer so insane. Like that whole spiel
We're all
he goes
dumber
on.
for having heard that.
See, the meme of all the words that the guy says, that's what I'm putting at the end of all of these videos. I think everybody is dumber having watched me on TV or on their computer.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one.
My favorite lyric from a song is from
Me without you.
Meow.
Are they Swedish?
Yeah. They have a song called Four-Word Letter Part 2 that ends with we hunger though all that we eat brings us no relief. We don't know quite what else to do. We have all of our beliefs, but we don't want our beliefs. Oh God of peace, we want you. And I like that lyric so much that I ended up, we had to write these papers in seminary called credos. That's basically like everything you believe. Justify everything you believe, which is a super easy paper to write. And I ended mine with that lyric of like saying like here's everything I believe, but like this isn't really like I don't really want these beliefs. I want whatever's behind these beliefs. So that's probably my favorite.
I like that one. Me Without You is a good band.
Who?
Like
Me Without You.
That's how I knew we were going to be friends, actually, because you, without me requesting it, you had a Me Without You song in your trivia playlist.
Oh yeah.
I think you actually kind of.
I was actually going to go back to when we were talking about that question to say I think it was around music because I think we were at trivia and I was like, why am I hearing all these bands that like I heard play in church basements in 2001? Like what? I was too young. 2005.
It's like Rocket Summer.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like Five Iron and Brave St. Saturn and Post.
Yeah.
Because he's still there in the basement mentally.
And all sorts of like, what is this? Who is this person? So
I did. I first heard Me Without You in a church basement, and I think it was 2003. Yeah.
I think mine was in a church attic actually. Because at our old church, that was where like the youth would be, was in the attic. And I want to say the first song I heard from them was January 1979. Which that
terrible crash.
But like the beginning of that song to me is just like, I mean, you're just going straight into that, pretty much like a power chord.
Yeah.
Just the do. Like, and then the way he just comes in with his like brash, like, I don't know, it's almost like a spoken word that he's just like yelling out over the song, and it got me, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you like about Me Without You? She's not really that big a fan. I'll say she's probably heard it when I've played it, but couldn't tell you anything about it really. But
pretty much the same about anything ever.
Yeah, really, because they just speak like so fast, and there's so much in there, and it's like, I mean, it's poetic when you read it, but it's like when you hear it, sometimes you're like, whoa, word salad, you know? So it's hard to like.
Oh, porcupine, low in the tree, your eyes to mine. You'd be well advised not to mess with me. Like, why did I just hear? What is in my ear?
I used to have that memory that could just like quote you back every single song lyric and movie line, and like as I've gotten older, it's like so gone. Like I just have lost that ability, which is really sad because I kind of in like high school used to be known for that. I could just like quote you any line. But man, David remembers every line of Me Without You and can just like bring it back as well.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be that way with song lyrics and stuff too. Not necessarily with them, but just anybody I listened to, because, you know, back when we used to buy CDs and stuff or cassette tapes early on, like the first thing I would do is just go home, pop it in, and just pull out the booklet.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a period where I don't know if I thought I was like being hip or whatever, but like as the song was playing, I would try and write the lyrics down in a notebook, like to see if I could keep up with the song. I know it's dumb, but like that's how I learned some of the songs that I listened to. And just, I don't know. That's one part I miss about having digital music now, is just not being able to pull out the booklet and look at the artwork. And
gotta Google it.
Yeah.
You gotta Google it.
Yeah. It's funny. I was always like, I could remember movie lines like nobody's business, but actually when it came to songs, I never really took the time to like learn a lot of the lyrics. So I'll still listen to like songs that I've heard at least 1,000 times. And I finally am like, oh, that's what they're saying?
Me too.
Right?
And like sometimes I'll like find out that it's not what I thought it was, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, I like my version better.
Yeah.
I should have written that song.
Yeah, I think you just sing sounds. Like sometimes it's not real words. It's just like
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Let's see. I'm gonna switch over to. Did you want me to go get her? Or?
I'll go get her.
All right. Sorry. Ren, our youngest daughter, is crying right now. So.
No.
Ren. It's probably our fault.
We'll bring her in. She'll be fine.
No.
Okay, like going towards movies. I don't know what it is about this scene. The movie is Man on the Moon. The Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
I
never saw a note about it. Like, but
it's the scene. If you're familiar with it, it's the scene towards the end where he's sick, and he's starting to get kind of frail and stuff like that, and he I guess he flies to like India or somewhere overseas, and he goes to a healer. And, he thinks the person is like doing this work to take the sickness out of him. And while he's laying on the table, he notices the like meat bag in the guy's hand before he pretends to pull it out of him. And he just like sees it and like looks up at the sky and just starts like cry laughing because of the absurdity of the whole thing and what people do to try and believe that they're going to get better. And stuff like that. And it just, it goes from him laughing to, basically him in his coffin dead. And like that scene for me, for whatever reason, just always like sticks out to me as like just the thing, the lengths people will go. How bad is the crying? Is it pretty bad?
I mean, we can hear it.
I told her to stop biting her, but I guess she didn't. I guess just thinking about like the lengths people will go to try and make themselves feel better. And I don't know if you guys want to agree or disagree with me on it, but it seems like religion kind of is that sort of thing where sometimes it kind of tricks people into feeling a certain way or being a certain way, and kind of for the good, I guess, because I don't know really where I'm going with it, but I don't know. There's just something about that scene, and that scene honestly had a lot to do with like how I feel as a Christian and stuff like that. Because you see a bunch of people act a certain way, and then you kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and see that it's all just a show for the masses or whatever. But
It made it worse.
all right, I'm gonna go try it.
She didn't want me.
Matt just dropped that.
Yeah.
Just dropped that bomb.
Yeah.
And
Sorry guys for getting too serious. Let's see if Kay wants to go on.
He uses that in the hospital all the time. You know, like there's this whole concept of like spiritual bypassing, of like, you know, using kind of the language of faith to avoid having to feel the feelings of hard things, rather than it being like an anchor that kind of keeps you steady. So I started saying that, and then like I looked back and Matt was gone, and like he had started this, so now I'm not sure what to do.
He said something about me going on to the next question, so he just wanted to leave the heaviness in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I came in midway. I didn't even hear what he said, so I'm just like, yeah, okay.
I'm good.
We'll watch it later and we'll find out.
It'll be a surprise for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Has he gotten onto your routine?
No.
No.
How are things going with your everyday routine? What's changed, if anything?
Quarantine routine?
Yeah.
I have found that I'm getting up a little bit later every day. I'm still managing to put on pants every day. But the thing is, like, I'm not bragging, because the issue for me will be if one day I stay in my pajamas, the next day I just will not get out of bed. Like, there is a short and slippery slope between me wearing pajamas on that first conference call and like me just like not getting out of bed for the next week. So we're gonna keep.
I exist in pajamas during regular life,
This is
so this has actually meant that I have to like get up and get dressed more than I regularly do.
Yeah, Leigh is wearing less pajamas.
Whoa. Oh, the other way. You're wearing real clothes.
No, our neighbors probably do see a lot of naked me, because I just like, I'm in our house, it's like, it's naked time. Actually,
Leigh hates pants. Like no one I've ever met.
I hate pants. This is really embarrassing, but so I just don't like pants. And so when I would get, like, especially in high school, I went to a Catholic school, so I had to wear a uniform, and that included a belt and like, just awful khakis and belts. Anyways, I actually, like, if you want to know what I wore, like, it's the Best Buy employee outfit. Like, that's what it is. It was like, so when I would get home, I would like come in, pants off, go about my day. So like walk into rooms and it would look like someone just evaporated on the floor.
Wish we'd all been ready.
So we started calling them rapture pants. And so when we started living together, it was like, why did you just leave your pants? Like clearly, like, you used the toilet and then took off your pants and then you.
I went into the bathroom in an apartment in DC once, and there was like just a whole outfit on the floor. So arranged it into like a person like sitting on the toilet. So then the next time we walked in, there was like a full kind of human.
Yes, I'm very modest outside of the home, but once I'm inside, it doesn't even matter if there's windows open.
It's their fault for looking in.
Leigh also has this thing where, like, if clothes are on the floor, that would be clutter and mess, and we can't have that. So instead, she puts them on top of things. So there's like plants on lamps.
I do that.
It's true. Well, because it's like they're not dirty, but I'm too lazy to put them away.
Right.
So I don't want to leave them on the floor.
You don't want to put them with the real clean clothes.
Yes, they're like.
But they live in the in between.
They're in a liminal clothing space.
Do you title these episodes, Could a Liminal Clothing Space be the name of this? A liminal clothing space with Maddie.
Then I get annoyed because then I go try to find like books and turn on lamps and they're covered in my clothing.
There used to be a lamp right here. Where?
We can't turn on the ceiling fan.
So now Olive Wilson will know too much about it.
That's funny that you think all of us.
That's really cute.
This.
Well, all
I mean,
Wilson
it's like
that
the
we know.
four of us, right?
Yeah.
When you go back and look at the view count of this video, it's gonna be me coming back and looking at it 5 times.
True.
So I don't know if this was already discussed while I was out, but what do you guys plan on doing first when things get back to normal? Not like literal first, like stepping outside and smelling the cold air. But what'd you say?
We're not assholes. Oh God, I'm gonna get this one.
I'm gonna
Just take a step outside. Oh man, no, I know. I have been craving the beach. I've just been, I don't know why. I'm just like
Craving what?
the beach.
Oh, the beach.
I just want to go to the beach so bad.
I just had to make sure you didn't say Mexican food because I'd be like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, at first I thought you said La Ranch, like La Rancherita, and I was like, oh my God, we need to go.
Yeah. I'm with you. Oh, the beach. Yeah, sure.
Solidarity.
Sorry, go ahead.
La Ranch would be a good choice.
We've got plenty of margarita mixes from La Rancherita in the fridge right now if you need one. I'll go and drop it on your steps.
On our porch. No, you can't do that, Matt. We're not on your route. No deliveries here for you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you Canadian with this route?
I am.
He has the skin too. So, Dave, what did you say? What you would want to do? Or are you gonna agree with her on the beach?
Yeah, I think we have plans to, like, as soon as we can, maybe even get like a house or something.
Mhm.
With all this like utilities and gas money we're saving right now, you know.
like rented like something on the beach so we can literally just like step out.
Nice.
Pretty much get out of Wilson. Sorry, Olive Wilson, who's watching this.
Olive Wilson.
Why do you hate us?
What about you guys?
Yeah.
Probably drop the kids off at somebody's house and just like go on a date and go to the movies or something. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
I guess not the movies because we've been watching movies the whole time or
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know. I'd really like to go see a concert or something just to be around a lot of energy or something. But that's not really how she is. She'd probably rather go out of sitting around the house to go sit around a coffee shop.
Yeah. Or just take like a solo trip to Target.
Yeah.
But I was kind of upset because, me and Leigh had sort of talked about going to try and see Sammy Ray And I think that was actually this past Sunday.
Oh,
Either-
really? I
either-
was thinking about that.
It was either supposed to happen this past Sunday or this coming Sunday because it was in the middle of April. But what can you do? It would have been nice to go to a concert, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do. I don't know. We never go to Brewmasters, so maybe something like that.
I mean, they say you can still go out to parks and stuff, but they're like so crowded because it's such a small town, so everyone's going to the parks to have that time. So we haven't really been doing any of that. I want to take the kids to a playground. They're dying to get the energy out and stuff. So
The playground in our neighborhood is actually usually vacant, so you need a little playground.
I don't think I think you're not supposed to be on any playground, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a song.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And see, the thing is, we were like, okay, all the playgrounds are closed. Let's go to Raleigh and try and go like on a greenway, like at Umstead or something like that. And then we get all the way to Umstead and they've got it blocked off, so you can't even go in the park there just to walk the trails because they said too many people were going to Umstead, so they had to close it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll just be nice to get out and not have to worry about it.
But by the time we can, we're in prime hiking season, in my opinion, because it's not too hot. It's nice. There's, but then by the time all this is over, it's going to be hot. And I'll be like, I just want to be inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll all like step out of quarantine into like the deathly humidity of August and be like, oh, never mind.
I think one thing I wouldn't mind doing is just maybe drop the kids off at my parents or my brother. Well, probably my parents' house, so that way my brother and sister-in-law can come over for this. But just like have them and like you guys or some other friends like over to the house just for like a cookout or something, just to hang out and just play yard games or board games or something.
Yeah, it's true. Like just going to have dinner with some people or like anything with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's one of those things, like for sure, like you don't really know what you miss doing or who you miss hanging out with until you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully it'll be over in the next month or two.
I know. I hope so.
Yeah, we have a trip lined up for Oregon in the middle of June, and who knows if we're going to be able to do that.
I'm really worried about that. So we haven't been since Auden was about Ren's age.
Yeah. But if not, we'll just have to reschedule it, I guess. Whatever the airline will let us reschedule it to.
I had about 6 trips to talk about the new book schedules that have gotten canceled. There it is. Oh, well, thank you.
That was actually going to be my next question. It was going to be, what is one thing you're passionate about that we can talk about right now? And we'll pretend to understand it even if we don't.
Okay. Everyone should buy my book.
He's passionate about that.
I'm passionate about you buying my book. But here's the deal. I'll tell you why you should be passionate about buying my book right now. For all of Wilson that's listening.
Listening, Mom?
At least.
Actually, her mom has actually bought your book.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's so sweet.
I think she's bought both of them, hasn't she?
I think she's just bought the first one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so, okay. I'll talk about medical debt.
Okay.
And then that's the thing I'm passionate about. And then I'll talk about how buying my book right now, you can help forgive medical debt. So medical debt's terrible. When I got out of the hospital in 2011, I ended up in like tens of thousands of dollars of medical debt. And it was awful. It was like crushing. It consumed my every second of existence. And then a lot of people, with the help of a lot of people and actually some kind of miraculous things happening, I got out of medical debt, and it was like the most amazing feeling of freedom ever. So I write in the book about debt in the Jewish and Christian traditions. There is a huge amount of writing in the Bible about debt and abolishing debt. And in fact, like the Lord's Prayer that we grew up praying, when we say like, forgive us our trespasses, that word is actually debts, like forgive us our debts. So there's this like really deep theological tradition of the importance of like what the Hebrew Bible calls jubilee, like the abolishing of debts. So I was writing a chapter in the book about that, and as I was researching that chapter, found out about this organization called RIP Medical Debt. And it was founded by guys who used to be debt collectors. And they started feeling really scummy about that because it's kind of a scummy business. And they were like, we don't want to do this anymore, but we know this system really well, so we can kind of use the system against itself. So the way it works is hospitals hold this debt. Like somebody goes to the hospital, they can't pay the bill. Most American households are like a $400 to $600 medical bill away from being in debt, right? So you go to the hospital, you can't pay the bill. The hospital has this debt. They don't want it, right? They don't want to be debt collectors. So they sell it for really cheap, like pennies on the dollar. And debt collectors come and they buy up millions of dollars of debt, and then because they buy it so cheap, the debt collection agencies make money just by collecting kind of on the margins. Like they never actually have to collect the whole debt. They can just keep harassing people and get like this marginal profit off of it, make tons of money, right? So what RIP Medical Debt does is they come in, they buy a huge chunk of medical debt, and they just abolish it. So you get instead of a letter from the collection agency, you get a letter that says like, you're not in debt anymore. What's wild is because they buy it on the cheap, if you give $1 to RIP Medical Debt, they can turn around and use that to buy and abolish $100 of medical debt. So we gave the pre-sale proceeds from the book to RIP Medical Debt, and then some proceeds from the book launch. And now if you message me and you buy an autographed copy of my book, which I will send via the postal service to your very doorstep, those proceeds will go to RIP Medical Debt. Altogether, we so far have abolished more than $60,000 of medical debt, which if the average family is in medical debt because of a $600 bill, that means that we've helped like 100 different families get out of medical debt just with the proceeds from the book.
That's awesome.
That's the thing I'm passionate about.
I
You
understood it.
don't have to pretend to understand.
I did not have to pretend. You explained it very well.
Now,
I'm passionate about pajamas.
And not pants.
Yes.
Leigh loves pajamas.
so what are these pajamas?
These pajamas have pajama pants. Those count.
Is that why you are wearing a blanket at the moment?
Isn't it right? Oh,
A blanket is just loose pants, really.
So, David, getting back to your book, I know at the beginning of it, in your kind of like your thanks, or I don't even know, acknowledgments.
We noticed we're not in it. Can you care to explain that?
So I noticed in your acknowledgments that towards the end you do acknowledge Me Without You as being influential in what you do with writing and advocacy and stuff like that. How have they, as a band or whatever, how have they influenced you in your pursuit?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Like, there's kind of like two different ways of answering that. Like, I love their lyrics, and listening to them has been like a big part of my kind of faith journey, and the way they acknowledge both. Like, one of the great things about Me Without You is they develop as a band over time, right? So there's this acknowledgement of kind of pain and despair in their music, but also like hope and change and difference. So that's like the deep answer to that question. But actually, like, honestly, sometimes when I'm writing and I'm stuck, their music is so sort of like driving and like energetic, and I know it so well that like I put them on when I'm in a rut and I need to like get some words out on the page. And it's just like a familiarity with the music, and the fact that it's got the energy helps me like actually write. Because like writing is hard. Poor Leigh has suffered a lot. Like, she occasionally will come in when I'm writing and I'm like laying on the ground, like, I don't So yeah, they're one of the bands I turn to when I like need to kind of get myself going after I'm done complaining to Leigh.
You don't really complain to me. You just kind of come in and just start talking. Like, I don't know if it's to yourself or to me, but it's just like, I hate this. Everyone will hate it. It's a very positive sort of season of life when David is writing.
Do you suffer from imposter syndrome, David?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite pieces of writing of all time, I'll send this to you after our interview. I think it was on The Toast. It's an article called "Everyone Has Imposter Syndrome Except You, an Actual Fraud." It's brilliant. It's like, the first sentence is like, recent surveys have shown that 99% of Americans suffer from a condition called imposter syndrome, except you, an actual useless piece of shit who will be found out by your friends any minute now.
That's awesome.
I'll post it in the comment section.
Whoa, you're actually
Refer to the show notes for this.
somebody's just going to comment on our video.
Yes.
Well, to end it, I think I told you guys last night before, things went to hell in a handbasket. No, I think I told you last night that we might be having another mutual friend of ours, Drew Barker, on for the next video if we decide to do one, if he's worthy enough.
Yeah.
So is there a question that you guys would like Drew to answer?
What do we want to ask Drew Barker? I have two questions. One, why is it just Drew?
Is it not Andrew?
No, I mean,
As
like,
in not Drew and Katie.
you're just interviewing Drew.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you why. Because I told Drew, I was like, hey, do you guys want to do you and Katie? Because, our first one was Gray and Jesse, and then our second one was Leigh and David. And I was like, does Katie want to get on with you? And he responded back, no, Katie said she wants to do her own. So we'll have Drew, and then we'll have Katie on later on.
I want to ask Drew what his favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is and why.
And if it's not Bloodsport, why?
Yeah. Drew, explain yourself.
You cannot put
Say for yourself. Drew, I miss you.
Oh, man.
Well, in the chance that we do talk to Katie later on, do you have anything you'd want to ask her?
Where do you get off?
Yeah. Hey, learning. Gosh.
What to ask?
Oh, I know. I would like you to ask both of them whether they rumple or roll their toilet paper. Are they crumplers or are they rollers?
Who would rumple?
Crumple. Like,
Crumple. I said rumple, you're right, but crumple.
But still, I knew what you meant. But like, who would do that?
you roll.
We crumplers, we know. It's very
You
strange.
fool? Who the fuck has the time? So
Yeah.
Great. Now we have to put explicit up here.
we have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Your mouth and Lee's no pants.
Yeah, it's rated.
Okay, so hear me out. You're sitting.
We're a folder?
Everything you're about to say, all I hear is, "Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm a sociopath."
Exactly.
Like,
You don't iron your jeans, Matt.
This is my first time finding this out too, so I feel a little uncomfortable.
that's what he's doing in there. He's in there folding his toilet paper.
So, okay, do I need to go get like a piece of toilet paper to explain the way I do it? So, okay.
That's like lighting $100 bill on fire right now.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I'll just save it for when I use it.
It'll be pre-folded for you.
I'm gonna fold it, put it in my wallet for the next time I'm out. So, okay, so when you have 3 kids, the bathroom is totally where you go to get away from those little shits. So to have a big shit. But so you're sitting there and you pull the toilet paper off. Why are you going to just be like, and then wipe?
Because they're screaming at the door and banging and having their little fingers
While you're
reaching.
sitting there folding your toilet paper, Kayleen is out reading
Yeah.
the children.
Yeah. I knew you spent more time in there on purpose. I knew it.
So this is what I do. When I'm pulling it off, I'm kind of wrapping it around my fingers. Like,
That's a huge waste.
it's not a huge waste. I'm not like wrapping it.
I do feel like a lot of times I like take way too much toilet paper because I crumple it and I don't kind of realize just how many squares I've got. So
Kayleen, if at any point during this quarantine you need to escape this man, message us and
Blink
ask us
twice.
about our homemade hand soap, and then we'll know that we have to check in on you. Okay?
So yeah, ask Drew and Katie this. I think it says a lot
Yeah.
about somebody.
Oh yeah.
Does say a lot about somebody.
Separately,
Oh,
so you can
yeah.
ask them.
Oh, you can ask them who they think the other person
Oh,
is.
yeah.
You know.
Oh.
Yeah, like ask
Okay,
him
so-
what he does.
Okay, so what do you think each of them is?
I don't think you should ask this because this is just like
Drew,
should-
not a folder.
Oh, he's a folder.
Drew, no, Drew. Say it ain't so, Drew.
I think it was opposite. I think Drew is the crumpler and Katie is a folder.
I could see that too. I mean, we probably shouldn't pretend like we think about their bathroom habits.
That's all I think about right now. Is people's bathrooms.
Oh man, I forget where I heard that question, but I use it with youth all the time, and they just like, because they're so awkward in them themselves, and they're like all prepared for you to say like, say your favorite color, but then it tells a little bit.
I need to
unexpected.
remember that at Barton. I get so tired of like every single event. You're like, say your name and what class you're in and your major.
Yeah.
Like, I need to.
And it's so fun because it like inevitably erupts into a debate between the crumplers and the folders, and it's
Yeah, you may have just like thrown 15 years down the toilet here.
That's great.
I see what you did there. So okay, my last thing that I'm gonna say about it. I don't like roll a bunch around my fingers. I just do like 3 sheets. and then fold them to make sure there's proper coverage.
You said as you were taking it off, you were rolling it around.
3 sheets can roll around my fingers.
You have to explain that you know it's wrong.
Sorry. What you said? You're a sociopath? Is that
Whatever.
capacity for human empathy? Is that what I heard you say, Matt?
Yes.
Sorry, your bandwidth is low, so I got
Too far.
This is going to be the new thing where everybody gets the message that, hey, Matt, your internet is shit.
People are drive by you in the street like, hey, bang, your internet sucks.
And I'm like, ooh. It's like that old commercial where the Native Americans on the side of the highway and they throw the trash at his feet. It's just a single tear coming down.
What commercial is this?
You've never heard of that commercial?
Yeah, it was like
Crying
was
Indian.
it Texas? It might have been the Don't Mess with Texas. Anyway,
No, it was like something with the EPA or something. Like back in the 70s.
Is it like a giant, like atomic explosion
no,
or
that's
something?
a different.
That's a different
yeah.
thing? Oh, is it like the little girl picking
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flower? Okay.
Yeah.
This one is just like anti-pollution.
Yeah.
It's like a convertible drives by and this Native American's just standing on the side of the highway for whatever reason. And like this convertible drives by and just throws a bag of trash out and it lands at his feet and it just scrolls up to his face with a single tear.
And do you know what the lesson is that we learned from that? Eat the
Don't-
rich.
Yes. That is always the correct answer. That is the C in life. You know what I mean by that?
No.
Do you know what I mean by that's the C in life?
I want a gif of you saying,
Yeah.
and Kaylee going, like if we can somehow cut that out and make that into a
That's pretty much our marriage. You know what I mean?
No.
So before I end it tonight, I'm going to give you one quick, random
knowledge round.
Yeah, like random trivia question.
Oh.
Okay.
So, and Kay doesn't know the answer to this either, so she's playing also. And I just need to make sure I can remember the question correctly. So, there was a study done in 2019 asking men a certain question. What is it from that study in 2019 that over 70% of men say that they now do that close to 100% of women have always done?
wash their hands.
No. See, the thing that threw me off was the close to 100% of women. That's what threw me off. But in a 2019 study, over 70% of men now say that they do what close to 100% of women have always done.
Menstruate.
Condition their hair.
Well, we'll link that in the comments.
Have you guys ever seen that cartoon? The failed what is it? The Family Channel?
I don't know. I don't know if we're the only ones who would find this.
I'm gonna send you a link. I'm gonna put a link in the comments. But anyway, the answer is sit while peeing.
Huh.
So yeah, I'm also stuck on the almost 100%.
Oh, okay. If you're stuck on that, then your next interview after Drew Barker should be with my friend Lindsay Kerr, and she'll explain it to you.
I mean, other than like squatting.
No, she can pee standing up.
Oh,
So-
did she use a funnel?
No.
Yeah. She must have a lot of bagel or something.
I mean,
All right, send us her contact info because I'm sure we can get like an hour out of that.
So, I think she'd be
Yeah.
willing to hop on and share it with Wilson.
So men are now starting to pee sitting down?
Yes. Do you want to know why?
I guess.
I mean, there's all sorts of practical reasons. Oh.
It gives them more time to get on the internet while they're in the bathroom.
Oh, that's
Those
so
whose
weird.
hands are free because they're not busy folding their toilet paper.
Older in the digital age. It's true.
It's hard to make a phone.
Yeah. That's a weird. Okay.
Well, there you go. That's
Well,
why.
this has just been great.
Delightful. Everyone is smarter.
Hey, that's what I'm here for, guys. That type of knowledge.
It's really good to see your faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on and doing this with us.
Yeah.
It was the feeling is mutual. Like it was just so great just talking with you guys and just seeing your faces again. And hopefully in the next month or so we'll be able to actually touch each other's faces.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of you've seen them.
They haven't seen that.
You haven't seen Thanos' Hands of Fate or
The
Manos Hands of Fate.
Theater,
Huh?
Mystery Science Theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's it? Torgo or whatever.
Torgo. Yeah.
That's my favorite thing that's happened this whole time.
I'm glad we didn't waste an hour and 40 minutes just to get to that one thing.
Fast forward to minute.
That'll be the screenshot for the thumbnail for.
Yes.
But anyway, we won't keep you on any longer. But thanks, guys, for hopping on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, good to see ya. Hope Rory gets to sleep.
See you guys.
Bye.